Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Soul Spark Reaction channel, where we talk about religion, philosophy, spirituality, and other things. Today, we'll be reviewing Yogananda. What is the proof of self-realization?
What is the proof of self-realization? If you imagine something very strongly, it becomes visible as a hallucination, having no intrinsic reality. You should understand the difference between imagination and self-realization. The essential proof of self-realization, of God's consciousness in you, is to be truly and unconditionally happy. If you are receiving more and more joy in meditation, without cessation, you may know that God is making manifest His presence in you. If there is a break in the flow of divine happiness, then there is something wrong in your consciousness, some kink that needs to be removed with the help of your guru. By maintaining steady communion with Him, through daily meditation and by following His precepts, the sadhana He has given you, He will straighten out that kink for you. You cannot be with the Lord just by thinking you are divinely enlightened. You must improve yourself. You must perfect yourself.
Yeah, that's really important because a lot of people I know and you know, they think that if they go to church or temple the most, or if they pray the hardest, that makes them connected to God. That is not true. That's deception. It's really about self-healing and clearing away, the term is blockages in your consciousness and your central nervous system that prevents the natural flow of consciousness to move through you. And nobody's going to be perfect at it. But this deception is saying that, yes, now I am praying the hardest. I am going to church every Sunday. No, that's part of it, and maybe that's the beginning parts of it. But true consciousness and true divinity within is about clearing yourself of all your or as many imperfections as possible in your consciousness or your thought process.
It's not easy. It's really about surrendering.
Yeah, and by the way, surrendering is moment one for that process, which can go on for decades. That's why, in general, you can only assess your level of self-realization and and not very many other people. Yogananda, and the picture is up on the screen now, he's famous for having those eyes, and those eyes are piercing, and even in a black and white photo, it looks like it's high beams, right? It looks like light is coming out of his eyes. You and I have talked about this, like people with black eyes, um, people with black eyes have a lot of darkness within them. And as you move closer to the light, your eyes get lighter. And sometimes there's a halo around it, like your eyes are like that. Mine are a little bit like that and reddish.
I totally forgot about that conversation, but it reminds me of another conversation about somebody I told you I can't ever see their eyes.
Yes, yeah, right.
Well,
Right.
that's for
The
practice.
eyes are the windows to the soul, and that's one of the indicators. It's not wearing a robe, it's not dressed in the religious garb, though that could mean it, but a lot of people are deceived by people wearing religious attire and saying, "Oh, well, they must know more than me." That isn't necessarily the case, though they could be on the path. So you can't really assess somebody else's.
Slightly off topic of this, but not completely. We should talk about the eyes. I didn't tell you that my mom can't see that person's eyes either.
You did tell me that. Yeah.
It's
So there's
pretty
something
crazy.
there is something about that. And this is the second time I'll mention this guy's name on this channel, but Andrew Tate. He's known for talking about having his shark eyes, but they're totally black, and he's gotten comments on how black they are. And he attributes it to living a hardened life. And yes, that is true. You can live a hardened life, but but healing from that and moving past it will reflect in your eyes. And I can tell you, I can look at photos of myself 10 years ago and my eyes have completely changed. And part of that is health wise, because when the consciousness expands in you, it can only change your nervous system, and that'll change your habits. So I live a more healthier lifestyle now, and that's reflective in the eyes. So it all sort of, consciousness is the beginning, and then it reflects in the human body.
Yeah.
There is a lot of difference between the potential realization of God and the actual realization of God. You can never know Him except through humbleness, wisdom, and devotion. The humble man is the one who will know God. Those who go deep in the superconsciousness automatically develop unusual spiritual powers and control over natural forces. But no man of true God consciousness ever uses his powers unwisely for egotistical display. Sages realize that the Lord is the sole doer and humbly return to him the extraordinary gifts he has bestowed on them. Is not everything in the universe a miracle? By his mere existence is not man a miracle? If human beings are not satisfied with all the wonders that God has created, why should his saints perform further miracles? They never do, unless, for some special reason, often an unfathomable one, the Lord so commands them. Beyond the kaleidoscope of subconsciousness, I will illustrate how the superconsciousness differs from the subconsciousness. The superconscious is that state in which you can consciously, during wakefulness or sleep, produce any sensation in your body at will, without any external stimulus. That is the proof. In the subconscious dreamland, you can drink a glass of hot milk, but this experience comes to you unbidden. In the superconscious state, you can create that or any other experience consciously and at will. Unless you are able to do this, do not.
I have done that in I call them dreams, but there have been dreams where I've been like thinking about manifesting something in my hand and it appeared. I wonder if that's what he's talking about. Right, because I can't do that in a regular dream. It's really like I'm forcing a manifestation in that state, and it's very rare, and it's usually to protect myself from something in that, let's say, realm, like a weapon or something like that. And those weapons don't really work too well. But like I that just triggered this thought in me that that's what he might be talking about.
Not delude yourself that you have reached superconsciousness. Millions of devotees never get beyond the kaleidoscope of the subconscious mind, which manifests its wonders mostly during sleep. But in the superconscious state, you can see or know anything that you wish to, not by imagination, but in reality. I can sit in this chair and transfer my mind to India and see exactly what is going on in my old home there.
All right, well that I can't do.
I got no
Yeah, I
comments.
got no comment on that, so I
Not
guess
on that level if that exists.
neither am
And
I.
I just trust God to put me in the position I need to be
Yeah,
in. I'm not going there.
and I don't know that I need to do that right now.
I don't.
The advancing devotee progresses through 3 stages of spiritual awareness, the sacred trinity. First, he experiences superconsciousness, oneness with the creative power in creation, Aum, God the Holy Ghost. Next comes Christ consciousness, merging in the infinite intelligence within creation, Tet, God the Son. Finally, he attains the highest cosmic consciousness, the truth beyond creation, the ineffable absolute, Set, God the Father. Sometimes a devotee dwells in the subconsciousness, sometimes he is lifted to superconsciousness and to Christ consciousness, and a few great souls are able to go beyond Christ consciousness into cosmic consciousness, the realm of causeless spirit.
I've never heard that before. I've always heard Christ consciousness and I've heard cosmic consciousness, but I didn't realize there was almost like a scale to this subconscious, Christ consciousness, and then ultimately cosmic consciousness. I've never heard that before, at least structured in that way.
This almost seems like the Holy Trinity in many ways.
Hmm, maybe.
Because you got Jesus, you got the Holy Spirit, you got God.
Hmm.
And so it almost sounds like he's talking about all those conscious levels. But I personally, I don't know, maybe it makes me feel a little uncomfortable inside. I don't really think that we should be doing that while we're on this plane of existence.
Oh, I don't think you should be doing it at
I mean, what happens afterwards is,
I think it should be done by some processes. First of all, I don't. I think that's. I think if you have the ability to do that, you have the ability to do that at some point in your life. I think there are people that would try to do that, and you're just not going to be able to do it.
well, I don't even think you should try to do that because you will open the door for other things. I don't know. That's
I,
just how I'm feeling inside.
I'm very happy with the material life these days. So yeah, so delving into those realms for no reason
When
is
you
probably not a
tend
smart
to
idea.
want to seek out power,
Something
there,
finds you.
there was an expression that was said by Ragnar Lothbrok in the Vikings TV show, but he's a real life person. He said he never sought power. Because you have to be willing to drop to your knees to pick up power to begin with. So you're not really powerful, you're seeking it.
Alan Watts has something similar to say about that. He said, the person that doesn't want power is to be trusted with it and the person that really wants power wants it and then wants to hold on to it. But just like the breath, if you let it go, it'll come back to you. And that's the type of person that should be trusted with power, is the one that's willing to let it go, because just like the breath, it'll come back to you, but it might come back more powerfully.
Also reminds me of Lord of the Rings. Nobody wanted to hold the ring because the power of it will corrupt everybody, except for these little hobbits they entrusted for it.
Because they were good, purely
Yeah.
good.
In the Christ conscious state, you don't have to visualize things first in order to experience them. You don't have to picture India. You are there. You are aware of all creation. That experience is an endless expansion of consciousness. You are in the blade of grass and on the mountaintop, and you can feel every cell of your body and every atom of space. But cosmic consciousness is beyond even that. When you can feel your presence in all creation, and also know the joy that is beyond creation, then you are a godlike being.
Well, safe to say I'm not there yet. What about you? Have you
Next
attained?
thing comes up the good evil spectrum.
Yeah.
I'm not seeking
Yeah.
out to become a godlike human being.
And I don't think you should too, but I think it's important to look at these things. Just like I can play basketball a little. Well, Michael Jordan was the best at it. In other words, the range of what human beings can do physically is like as wide as the Grand Canyon. And I think the same thing. It's the same thing for people that can do certain things spiritually as well. Some people have such immense spiritual talent, they can apply these things, and most of us are going to be somewhere in between, and that's okay. And that's okay. But it's nice to know what the limits are on human consciousness, even if it's for just a few people, the Michael Jordans of the world. Closing thoughts?
Yeah, I'm just gonna say this: don't try it out at home.
Yeah, don't try it at home. Don't try it at home. Just rest assured that some of these things are possible. Till next time, like, subscribe, comment.